According to Anthony O'Malley Daly, the story of the Dower coup puts the Loch Ness Monster in the shade. On the road from Manorhamilton to Ballyshannon, Anthony plucked at my sleeve and gestured for me to stop the car. I pulled into a gravelled parking lot beside a small cemetery. It had been a long afternoon, and at 6 o'clock I was ready to finish our book-selling journey and head for home. But Anthony gestured for me to get out of the car. He pointed toward the graves. I saw a sign that read Conwall Cemetery, and everything clicked into place. Anthony wanted me to see the grave of the woman who had been killed by the Dower coup. According to his family, Anthony O'Malley Daly was one of the longest-lived survivors of Parkinson's disease on record. When I met him, he had lived with the condition for 23 years, and determined not to knuckle under to his diminishing physical capabilities, Anthony had pushed himself to perform a spectacular series of stunts, including bungee jumping, water skiing, and solo parachuting. He performed those stunts to raise money for a Parkinson's nurse for Northwest Ireland. To attract additional funds, he decided to write an autobiography. He advertised on a community bulletin board for help in developing the book, and I took the job. Anthony had no shortage of material. He had written fishing columns for the Donegal Democrat and the Sun newspapers for 25 years, and he had published 3 chapbooks called Angler's Annuals. He had also invited his family and friends to contribute to his book, and Mary B. McEnroy of Leitrim wrote a piece about a fearful creature who lived, according to legend, in Glenade Lake. Quote, in 1720, a man called McLaughlin and his wife, Grace Connolly, lived by the northern shore of the lake. One day she went to bathe, and when she did not return, her husband went to investigate. He found her dead, bleeding, half-eaten by the monster, the dreaded Dower coup, reputed to dwell in the lake, and which was now asleep beside its victim. The appalled husband killed the beast with his dagger, but as the otter or crocodile or water dog was dying, it whistled. This was a signal for its mate to come and avenge its death. After he published his book, Anthony and I began a series of auto trips to sell it through Donegal, Leitrim, and North Sligo. I offered to bring his wheelchair along, but he wouldn't hear of it. He insisted on walking with his Zimmer frame into all of the stores and shops and tourist information centers. More than once, after we'd prevailed on a reluctant manager to take half a dozen books on consignment, Anthony would muster a wry smile and mutter, sympathy. He knew what he was doing. According to Mary B. McEnroy, quote, he was neither outwit nor outrun the Dower coup, so McLaughlin and his brother mounted their horses and galloped as never before along a road toward the ancient seat of Queen Maeve on Knocknarea. Along this route, the chase continued, entering County Sligo at Acamore. The animal, screaming and whistling, was catching upon them, so they sought refuge in a walled enclosure and placed the 2 horses across the doorway. As they had been warned, the monster bored through the outer horse's belly and started to repeat the action. And when the creature climbed through the eviscerated horses and began to emerge from the other side, the McLaughlin brothers sliced its head off. As we drove back from the cemetery to Ballyshannon, Anthony and I sang the lively old songs of George M. Cohan, Give My Regards to Broadway, I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. And despite his shaky vocal cords, Anthony found the energy to sing along. I wondered if we were tracing the route of the McLaughlin's great chase toward the ancient seat of Queen Maeve. In November of 2013, our year of bookselling came to an end in a long corridor in a Bundoran nursing home. We'd visited there before, and Anthony had teased the resident women, threatening to write a tell-all book about them. But this time his energy flagged, and he accepted a ride in a wheelchair. 2 weeks later, the man who loved heroic adventures and tall tales died quietly in Sligo General Hospital. His tombstone in the Ballyshannon Cemetery is engraved with the aspen leaf symbol of the Parkinson's Association of Ireland.